What is up, y'all? Welcome back. Sig 1911X. It's the optic version, weirdly cut slide that they have for their new 1911s. I don't have an optic on this one, but it sure is a nice 1911. I've waited a long time to actually get my hands on this one. It was a layaway project, of course, like I live my life with guns, but it's finally here. I have a few shots through it. We're going to put a few more through it. We're going to test a variety of things, and we're just going to report back to you what we think of it. How does it feel? How does it shoot? Does it run this ammo? Does it like the magazines we have? Just overall, is it a good shooter? I've always had good luck with Sig 1911s. I've really liked the triggers. They've been darn accurate for me, and they look really nice too. Now, this has nothing to do with the current Sig controversies of their striker fire guns, their 320 situation that they have. I don't know about that too much. I don't have those guns. 1911s, totally different story. This is not affected by any of that. All right, she is a beauty. I do like 1911s in general. I think they're beautiful machines. This one is just a little bit different than most. We have a few examples here we'll show you real quick on the table compared to this one. So we have here two Sigs, a Colt and a Remington, and I just wanted to show you real quick some of the differences that you can find with 1911s. I'm not going to draw out different barrel lengths and things like that, but this one here is chambered in 357 Sig by Sig. Cool. This one's a 45, this one's a 10 millimeter, and this one is also a 45. Now you have differences like external extractors on the SIGs, where you have internal extractors on the other ones. You have differences in the backstrap safeties, whether they have little bump outs or not. You have difference with beaver tails here on the grip safeties, and sometimes you have skeletonized hammers and sometimes you do not. There's different sight setups. You can't put that sight into that sight. You have to, there's different cuts for them. You have night sights on some of them. We have a rail on one of them. Different things that they do with the trigger between skeletonizing or putting holes, whatever, or having a flat face trigger, or something really cool like that kind of skeletonizing and that scoop trigger. We have a recessed takedown lever right here. I really do like that on 1911s. I had it on a Nighthawk one time and it was just really nice. So when I saw it on this gun, I was like, yep, gotta have it. We have different slide serration areas, or slide serrations in different areas depending on what you have. This is the old classic style. This is the updated style. And then we start getting into, different widths and different textures and things like that. There will be minor differences sometimes here in the trigger guards and the way they make cutouts here. Some of them will be dehorned where they're made for more comfortable carry. They've taken off the sharp edges. And sometimes you have the old rough and tough ones that after carrying them long enough, you take off the edges. Some will have checkering for better grips here in the front. Some will not. Trust me, they have all different kinds of backstraps on them. Notice here the round butt for a more comfortable carry option. And up front, there will be different barrel types and bushing types depending on what you're going for, whether it's a target gun or a duty gun or whatever. And the most common magazine sizes or capacities for the 1911s and 45 would be 7 round, 8 round, and 10 round. They make others, but those are the ones you're going to usually find pretty easily. And don't worry, all these guns are fully loaded, chambered, and ready to rip, just like all guns should be all the time. And now that you see some of the differences, let me show you the closer up look of this one specifically. So let's start off with the grips. We have some very nice Sig Sauer logoed grips right here. It's a G10 material, and I really like the pattern on it. It has the nice little cutout. It's a pretty deep cutout to get to that magazine release. That magazine release is extended, by the way. And then here on that grip, we also have pretty much a fenced-in area around that grip screw, so that's seamless. You never feel that. It's pretty cool. I actually like the look, and I like the feel of it. Underneath there, we do have a mag well. Let me get that totally loaded magazine out of there. So we have a mag well here. That's pretty nice addition. We do have front strap checkering. We do have rear backstrap checkering. It's a pretty aggressive checkering, but it's not too aggressive. I really like that Sig style right there, whatever lines per inch it is. You'll notice it does have the bump out here for the backstrap safety, the speed bump, whatever you call that. It just ensures you definitely engage it. I've never had a problem with a 1911 that has that. And you do have the high beaver tail safety on there with the according bobbed hammer. It's a nice safety, and it does have a good feel to it. It's tensioned just right, and it is totally ambidextrous, which I don't like too much in a 1911, but I'll try it. I'll give it a good try and see if I can get used to it or not. We have a little bit of an extended slide release or takedown lever, so that's always good for when you're trying to do your reloads and drop your slide as you're getting your hand up there. We have a flat face trigger, and it is pretty nice. I will show it to you as we fire. As with most guns now, modern guns, we're starting to see rails on everything. So we do have a rail. You can go ahead and put your light or whatever you want to put on there. One of the things that'll make this stand out from most 1911s right off the bat is this cut that they put on the top of the slide. That does match their striker-fired pistols, the way that their slide looks. And on top of that slide, we do have the optics plate, so we can stick a red dot in there if we want to. Sig brands a specific red dot for this gun, I think, but I just didn't want to pick it up at the moment. It does come with that as an option if you wanted to just get it right off the rip. One installed, pretty much zeroed, I'm sure. We have an external extractor. There is argument in the 1911 community whether that is good or bad to have it external. I really don't care. I haven't seen a difference either way. We do have, as I mentioned before, that recessed part right there for the slide release or takedown lever, and I really do like that because when you're resting your finger up here high on the trigger guard, as you're supposed to when you're not trying to put your finger on the trigger, every now and then with looser fitting parts or guns that are really worn in, you can actually inadvertently go ahead and start working that lever out. I like it when they're recessed. It's very nice. The slide serrations are nice. You can get a good grip forward and rear. And don't worry, for camera guys' safety, it is actually unloaded at the moment. But we have a pretty basic recoil spring plug and a pretty basic bushing. We have a slightly crowned barrel. The iron sights are of the 3-dot variety. Being nighttime, they glow green, and in the daytime, we have a green front fiber optic with the rears pretty much being a white dot. But it's a night sight dot, so it's more of like a gray, smudgy, smeary dot, but it's still a dot. It comes with 2 8-round Mech-Gar magazines. So a few upgraded parts over your standard 1911, but it's a 1911. It's 55 pieces of awesomeness put together. John Moses Browning had a great idea, and it's lasted to this day. And if you want more details on that, I'm sure you know where to find it, but I think we should get to shooting. We're going straight to some premium ammunition. We have Spear Gold Dot. This is the 230 grain Gold Dot hollow point, not the plus P. It's just the regular version, variety. We'll see how the gun likes that. We have a variety of different magazines, including the one that came with it. Wilson Combat and Chip McCormick 10-round magazines, and then a Wilson Combat 7-round magazine. We're just going to see how it goes. We've already shot this off camera. I really like it. Camera guy and I both had pretty good luck with it. Pretty good bullseye shooting for that type of sights. We'll eventually put a red dot on it just to see how accurate we can get it. But let's put it on paper. Let's shoot some steel. Let's run some of this ammo, and maybe we'll run some hand loads through it too. We'll just see how this goes. We totally fly by the seat of our pants on this channel. Nothing is really scripted, ever. And scripted's probably the wrong word. We never like make that list of how we're going to do a video. We just do it. All right, let's start out with 8 rounds of Gold Dot in that Mech-Gar magazine that they sent, and uh-oh. So that one didn't want to feed right out of the magazine. That's not good. Let's try that again. All right, we have it seated properly. There is 8 rounds in there, not 9 or 17 or anything like that. I'm going to go ahead and hit that slide release. We're going to give this thing one more chance on that one. Okay, it fed that time, but we had a hiccup. Never good for when you got the price of this 1911 in the back of your head. That thing should be feeding just about anything, but it is new. It is oiled up. I bought it with a few shots in it. It was basically brand new. It had the factory grease on the rail almost, whatever the stuff is that Sig uses, but we cleaned it up really good. We oiled it really well, and we only have about 80 shots on it, I think, prior to this video, so not really any excuses. You still see plenty of oil on that barrel. Trust me, there's plenty in those rails that's seeping out. So with that said, let's go ahead and shoot. Gold Dot hollow point, 230 grain. Feels really nice out of that gun, or out of this gun. The recoil is just a tiny bit stout-ish for a 1911 for that type of ammo, but not too terrible. All right, let's take a look. It's really a terrible choice to paint the target green when I have a green front sight, but that's where we landed. That's just playing around. Let's try that 7-round magazine. All right, we've pretty much doubled that distance. We're at about 40 feet now. 7-round magazine. Let's see if it feeds properly. That one went in there. I'm going to go for headshots only. Missed one. Missed another one, so I don't like that sight's backing up here like that. I think I got him right in the face, so I have to aim a little bit low with these sights at this distance. Yep, I figured it out. All right, let's take a look at that. So the first couple shots, I was definitely going over the head. If I pretty much aimed at this bolt, I would end up in here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 were the ones that I missed over there. We do have a little bit elevated sights, possibly. I'm not really sure. I'll have to compare those to another gun. But I know once you put the red dot that they recommend, you definitely have another type of co-witness to deal with. So we'll see if these sights are like other ones. But I did have to aim a little bit low. It's almost like a 6 o'clock hold at that distance. That's not really what I like out of sights, but I would probably change these sights out anyway. Let's go ahead and mess around with those 10-round magazines. And actually, I'm totally wrong. They sit a lot lower. So next to Novak sights right there, big time difference. That's the Delta Elite on the left. Those sit really high. This is the Sig Nightmare. Those sit higher. And that's the Remington R1. That's the closest, but that might even sit just a tiny bit higher. I don't know. All right, Wilson Combat 10-round magazine. Felt pretty good. Did you guys like that music I played for you? All right, here we have some DG powder-coated bullets. Those are 230 grains with 4.5 grains of tight group behind it. Just a nice little range load. We train with these all the time. We've gone through thousands of these. I can pretty much say that all of my guns love these. All right, now I've gone ahead and +1'd it, because if this was being used as, let's say, a duty gun, and people still use 1911s as duty guns for sure, you'd have an optic on there, you'd have a 10-round magazine most likely, and you'd be +1. So yeah, I'm not even joking. Departments still use them, and I think those departments are actually awesome. But with that said, let's see how these DGs like to go through it. Ready, camera guy? Yep. Good to go. Those are really nice. Those are good range loads. Oh. Hopefully that's a really good range load. No, that's just not enough power to cycle back that slide right there. I can't blame that on the gun. That's me keeping those hand loads right at the line of cycling. She might be sprung a touch heavy or just need a little bit more break-in, because she is a 1911. And I will go ahead and say that 1911s need break-in, but that could also be just my hand loads riding the edge of cyclability, keeping them nice and soft, but trying to make the slide cycle. She just might be a touch heavy on the spring side for that one. Now we have some 185 grain Barry's flat points in there. Those are loaded with 5.5 grains of tight group. So nothing super scary with those either. This thing definitely just inertial loaded for me. So, for a 1911 that's brand new, I don't really like that. That was a very easy bump, and it totally loaded itself. All the argument aside about inertial loading, it did it. I'm going to shoot this one-handed to see how it feels with that ammunition. Feels pretty good, but I don't think we locked back. That should have been 8. No, I'm wrong. Anyway. Lock back on both. All right, we know that she runs, so let's go ahead and put 8 rounds on paper with the gold dot, because that's some pretty darn good ammunition. Let's see how that works out. All right, we have 21 feet off of that B8 target. That's standard testing for all the ammunitions we go through. Let's see how she does. I think we're going to have a little bit of a higher point of aim, point of impact. I know we will, most likely, I guess. Let's take a look. She locked back. Darn it, we let one escape the rest of the group, but that's a really nice group. That's about a thumb hole size group. You can see it would have pretty much stayed in the center of the X. If I was down here, it would at least touch the X ring right there. I can't wait to get a red dot on her. I'm not a really big red dot person at all, but I do want to see if I can get that even tighter. That's pretty darn good. We knew it was going to shoot a little bit high. No matter what, I'm going to have to adjust those iron sights, put something different on there. But that's a 1911 for you. And I know that wasn't bench rest shooting off of a bag with a ransom rest or anything like that, but trust me, I shoot worse off of that kind of stuff. And I'm not buying an actual ransom rest, a mechanical locking rest. That's good enough for offhand shooting. I think we can all agree she's a good grouper. She's a shooter. So please excuse my extremely gnarly hands. I tear up my hands all the time at work. But as far as the trigger goes, we have 2 parts of the initial take-up. The first part is clean as can be. The next part's just a little bit grindy as you work through the rest of it. Now we're at the wall. We have a little bit of push through. and it will eventually drop that hammer. The reset is actually kind of far out in my opinion. It's right, you heard it, it was there. We're at the hammer, or at the wall again, hammer drops. I'll try to show you the reset again. There, it pushes your finger forward the rest of the way. Take up a little tiny bit again, go through the wall, and there you go. Not the best trigger in the world, but we can work on that if we want to. Let's just say it's not bad. It's a nice 1911 trigger, but it's not the nicest. And I'm basing that off of all kinds of 1911s that I've shot. I've had multiple 1911s. I've shot even more, but the triggers in 1911s are all over the map. This is a pretty good one, just not the best. So what do I think? For the price, which is around $1,300, a little bit more banana leaves, and if you get the optic version, you're looking at a whole lot more. I got this one for a pretty good price, a little bit less than that 1,300 banana leaves, but I don't know. She's right on the edge right there. She's a nice one, but is she that nice? There's a lot of other options out there for less money that might be equal to her. She has a few extra features on this whole feature set. Not bad. I'm going to have to work with her a little bit more. I'm disappointed that the sights aren't set for actual true point of aim, point of impact. The trigger is, like I said, not the best, but it's a decent one. Something's on my face too. I don't like the ambidextrous safety, but that's just a preference thing. I might change that out, but I really do like how she feels. It is not too fat of a grip. Sometimes people can get a little bit ridiculous with the thickness of the G10 grips. I don't think that's the case here. They've balanced the check ring and the grip texture, everything really well. The magazine well is a great addition to it, the flared mag well, because it just really helps you to guide those magazines in there sometimes. And it seems to function with just about everything, except for one of my hand loads that didn't want to lock the slide back, and then one of these gold dots that didn't exactly feed well in the beginning. She is a 1911. I would say you do need to put that 300, 400, 500 rounds through her before you can actually judge her too badly. It's a pretty nice pistol. I guess it is good for a carry gun, in my opinion, at this moment, as long as testing proceeds well. If we have any hangups, we'll definitely bring them to you. You definitely can't judge this type of a gun off of this limited testing that we've done. We'll be using her in some gel tests and whatnot, I'm sure. Pretty nice one. And we'll just be doing shooting videos in general with her. I'll probably take this gun to a class or two, and that's where she'll work really hard. That's a 300 round count type of deal just about every time. And no lubrication and no babying in between. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoy these type of videos. And until we see you next time, stay safe, have fun, and keep shooting.